Let's get to it. Our Big 12 football power rankings for Week 5 in the books. Now on to Week 6. I'm Pete Mundo. HeartlandCollegeSports.com is, of course, how you find us, your independent Big 12 digital media outlet. It is always great to be here with you, especially after another great week of Big 12 football. 3 underdogs get the job done. Hey, YouTube, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate you doing that if you're a Big 12 football fan. A ton more video content coming your way. On the podcast, rate, review, subscribe. We got those free koozies for you. When you leave a rating and a review on iTunes and send me a screenshot to Pete Mundo, M-U-N-D-O, at HeartlandCollegeSports.com. And, of course, on Facebook, share away and leave your comments. Let's do it. Power ranking starting at number 10. Here we go. The Oklahoma Sooners. I never thought I'd say it, but I've got the Oklahoma Sooners at number 10 in this week's Big 12 football power rankings after an embarrassing performance on the road against TCU. You look at this team now, 2 straight bad performances. They had a bad non-conference schedule. We knew that much. Wasn't really clear what OU was coming into the Big 12 play. And then you lose to K-State at home. And then you also go on the road and get blown out by TCU by 31 points. You give up 660-some-odd yards. Get them out. They're number 10, baby. Oklahoma. I never thought I'd see Oklahoma at number 10 in these Big 12 power rankings, but that's where I've got them this week. At number 9, the West Virginia Mountaineers, who put on a pathetic display. Pathetic in Austin, Texas. It was 28-0 in the blink of an eye. It was 35-7 after 3 quarters, and this is after they had extra time off following, their win against Virginia Tech the previous Thursday night. And that's the performance that Neil Brown's team comes out with against Texas, who had just lost to Texas Tech. That is terrible. So I've got West Virginia at number 9 in the Big 12 football power rankings this week. Now remember, this is done based off of who you've actually played and what you've done, not what I project the final standings to look like. That's not how we do power rankings. We do it based on, first off, your most recent game, and then your entire body of work. So we've got Oklahoma at 10, West Virginia at 9. At number 8, the Iowa State Cyclones, who are now 0-2 in Big 12 play after a loss to Kansas on Saturday. Now, if not for 3 missed field goals, Iowa State probably wins this game. But guess what? Special teams are a thing in football. And just ask Iowa State fans, the special teams have been a frustrating part of this team, really the most frustrating part of this program under Matt Campbell, who's obviously done a tremendous job. But it's fair to say, hey, the special teams has always been problematic. They finally got a special teams coach this season, and it clearly is yet to pay dividends. Missed 3 field goals, including that one in the final minute of regulation against Kansas, which was just wide left, never had a chance. They had a muffed punt. It didn't lead to any points. But all in all, still a bad special teams effort for the Iowa State Cyclones. I've got them at number 8 in my Big 12 football power rankings this week. At number 7, the Texas Longhorns, only sliding up 3 spots here. They crushed West Virginia. Mountaineers weren't coming to town as a world beater anyway. As I noted, Texas found itself up 28-0 in the second. Now, if Texas shows that kind of consistency, they might have a football team here. They might have something to work with. But consistency has been the thing that has plagued Texas football since Mac Brown had him in the title game against Nick Saban, well over 10 years ago at this point. So it's not about, wow, look at that performance, look at the talent. We know it's there. I saw a pretty great stat I want to share with you. When was it? I want to pull this stat up. It just goes to show you the talent that Texas has, specifically Bijan Robinson. Here it is. Most missed tackles forced in the Big 12 this year by running backs, according to Pro Football Focus. Texas as a team has 66. Missed tackles forced. The next closest team is Kansas with 38. Meantime, Bijan Robinson has 40 by himself. Bijan Robinson has 40 of Texas's 66 missed tackles forced. Bijan Robinson alone has more than any other team in the Big 12. I mean, the guy's a stud. We know that. But, man, you got to put it together week in, week out. You don't get to play a great game and then take a week off. Number 6 on the Big 12 football power rankings, I've got the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Now, they could have completely fallen apart, down 13-0 against K-State. That didn't happen on Saturday. They trailed K-State by 3 at halftime. Wildcats did take control in the second half. So the Red Raiders edge out Texas here, who they beat last week in Lubbock. So Texas Tech, I know you're saying, well, Tech lost and Texas won. Why is Texas behind Texas Tech? Well, you know what? Tech beat Texas 2 weeks prior. So I can't allow Texas to jump Texas Tech when these two teams played each other a hot minute ago and the Red Raiders came back for a victory. I just can't do that. So I've got Texas Tech in the number 6 spot. A lot of issues on the offensive line. Donovan Smith was running for his life, was struggling most of the game at quarterback because he never had a moment to breathe. That was the issue coming into the season. We knew that, and that is still the issue today for the Red Raiders, who now have a whale of a matchup against Oklahoma State this weekend. Next up in our Big 12 football power rankings, we get to the top 5. Baylor is at number 5 ahead of Texas Tech after Baylor lost to Oklahoma State at home, but they do have a road win against Iowa State, which I'm giving a slight edge to over Texas Tech's home win against Texas. Both teams have a couple of losses thus far, fairly similar resumes. Baylor lost on the road to BYU. Texas Tech lost on the road to NC State. Baylor still the defending Big 12 champs. They have an off week until a game next Thursday night. So I believe that's a West Virginia game next Thursday night. So I'm giving Baylor the slight edge at number 5 after a loss to Oklahoma State this past weekend. At number 4 in the Big 12 football power rankings, TCU. How about them Horned Frogs? They handed Oklahoma their worst loss in the Big 12 in 8 seasons with a 55-24 victory at home over the Sooners. I mean, Max Duggan, dude looks like Patrick Mahomes out there. Well, then again, Oklahoma's defense, I think, is going to make a lot of people look like Patrick Mahomes this season. My goodness, Oklahoma gave up almost 700 yards of offense, which worked under Lincoln Riley when, you'd put up 700 yards of offense. You gave up 650, you put up 750, it was okay. That's not what's happening right now for OU. But back to TCU. TCU averaged nearly 9 yards per rush in this game. They had 4 sacks, 7 tackles for loss against an OU offense that was held to 355 yards. That's a very pedestrian number. Very pedestrian number for Oklahoma's offense. So kudos to Sonny Dykes. He's off to a hot start. He's got his team ranked in the top 20. They go to Kansas this weekend. College game day is going to be there. It's going to be wild. And TCU is at number 4 in the power rankings. At number 3, the Oklahoma State Cowboys. As the Cowboys played their first Big 12 game on Saturday following the bye week, the non-conference was not so hot. Impressive showing going on the road and beating Baylor in Waco. I'm not going to say it was a revenge game since they lost the Big 12 championship to Baylor last year, but got to hand it to Spencer Sanders. He threw for 180 yards. He led the team in rushing with 75 yards and a score. And the defensive front gave Baylor's offensive line a very tough time all afternoon. So Oklahoma State, in what was clearly and by far their toughest test of the season, passed it with flying colors. I'll give it to the Pokes. And they are number 3 this week in our Big 12 football power rankings. At number 2, Kansas State hangs on after beating Texas Tech 37-28 on Saturday. Adrian Martinez and Deuce Vaughn crushed Texas Tech with a combined 341 rushing yards for those two guys alone. Can you believe that? Martinez added 3 rushing scores on the day. The defense was all over Donovan Smith, and the Wildcats are now 2-0 in the Big 12, beat Oklahoma. They beat Texas Tech. And they are cruising. They are going to be a team that will be heard from in the final month of the season, no doubt about it. And at number 1, again this week in our Big 12 football power rankings, I've got those Rock Chalk Kansas Jayhawks, baby. Holy smokes. Kansas is 5-0. They beat Iowa State 14-11 on Saturday. It wasn't always pretty, but you got to tip your hat to a Kansas defense that picked up an offense that was averaging nearly 50 points per game. If you told me before the game last week Kansas would score 14, I'd tell you they'd lose by double digits. That didn't happen. This magical season for KU continues. It's being rewarded by ESPN's College Game Day. They're coming to Lawrence for a football game this weekend for the first time ever. Can you believe it, my goodness? And Kansas is number 1 in our Big 12 football power rankings this week. So once again, 1 through 10, I've got Kansas at 1, Kansas State at 2, Oklahoma State at 3. So let me start that off since I can't count 1 through 10. Kansas at 1, Kansas State at 2, Oklahoma State 3, TCU 4, Baylor 5, Texas Tech 6, Texas 7, Iowa State 8, West Virginia 9, and Oklahoma 10 in our Big 12 football power rankings. Let's take a look at what we've got on Facebook Live. Leave your comments there. We'll dive into them now. Dustin writes, it worries me that Spencer Sanders is the leading rusher and our secondary on defense is mediocre at best, but looks to be getting a little better. I agree, Dustin, with both of those things. You know, I was surprised how much Baylor tried to establish the running game early against Oklahoma State. If I was playing Oklahoma State, here's what I would do. Throw the ball, throw the ball, throw the ball, throw the ball, and throw the ball again. Now, I know that defensive front for the Cowboys is strong, and you may not have a lot of time to sit in the pocket if you're Blake Shapen or any quarterback for that matter. But, man, you have got to challenge this secondary if you're playing Oklahoma State. And I didn't think Baylor did a great job of that early. I didn't think they pounced on that like they should have early in that game against Oklahoma State. I thought they were a little more balanced maybe for much of that first half than they needed to be based on, watching that game and bouncing back and forth between a wild Saturday of Big 12 football. Also, TCU should be number 1, Pete. Look at the body of work. What's the body of work? I mean, it's a good body of work. It's a good body of work. They've only played 4 games, though. Let's note that. K-State has played 5. Colorado already fired its coach. It's having a historically bad season for a Power 5 team. Tarleton State is Tarleton State. SMU's, okay, SMU. Rivalry, but, AAC. And then they beat Oklahoma, and Oklahoma does not look good at all. So part of that's just because they only have 4 games under their belt. I mean, KU and K-State have played 2 Big 12 games apiece. They've won them both. So that's why I've got KU and K-State with the edge. Even over Oklahoma State, if you want to talk about the best win this past weekend, the best win this past weekend was Oklahoma State going on the road to Baylor and winning in Waco. That's the best win of the weekend. But Oklahoma State's non-conference was not stellar by any stretch of the imagination. So I couldn't move Oklahoma State ahead of either Kansas school. Going to OU, which K-State did, and then beating a Texas Tech team, which just beat Texas, that's impressive. And then KU went on the road to Morgantown, which I know West Virginia's down, but that's a tough place to play, won that game. And then beat Iowa State at home. And, I know Iowa State's 0-2, but Iowa State's, I think that's still a good football team. I think Iowa State's a very good football team. So I'm not going to sit here and just say, well, you got to jump KU and K-State with Oklahoma State or TCU. Not yet. Now, if TCU, here's the reality. If TCU wins this weekend at Kansas, our number 1 team, TCU is probably number 1 next week. Right? I mean, that's where my gut is right now. Now, it depends how everybody looks. What does K-State do on the road against Iowa State? If K-State beats Iowa State and TCU beats Kansas, there's going to be a battle for number 1 between those 2 teams. But that's where my head is at right now. And then Oklahoma State plays Texas Tech. That's another good game. So there's a lot to look forward to in this league moving forward. It's going to be a very, very good weekend, and I'm jazzed up for it. I'm really jazzed up for it. So appreciate you guys, as always, hopping on the show. Pete Mundo, HeartlandCollegeSports.com is how you find us. And just a reminder, I am so grateful to each and every one of you. Yes, you watching us right now on YouTube. Yes, you watching us on Facebook. Yes, you listening to the podcast. We are having by far our most successful season. It's allowing us to build our podcast network, which we're doing. We have team-oriented podcasts for now. We've got, let's see, Kansas. We've got Kansas State. We've got Oklahoma, Oklahoma State. We've got a Bedlam podcast. We've got Texas Tech, Texas. So we're building out our podcast network. We're investing in this Big 12 outlet because, remember, the reason this whole thing started is because nobody else nationally covered this conference like I thought it deserved to be covered. So I said, screw it, I'll do it. If I knew 8 years ago how much work it would be, I'm not sure I would have done it. But 8 years later, we're reaching millions of Big 12 fans every month with no backing of any major media conglomerate. Just you. That's it. So every little share of this video you do, every subscription on YouTube, every like on the YouTube video, every rating, review on iTunes, subscribing to the podcast, every little thing makes a difference because we're up against the big guys, and we're taking them down because of you. So thank you, guys, for that. Can't thank you enough for being a part of the show. We're going to sign off for the night. All right? You have a great rest of your day. And we've got plenty more content. So wherever you're catching us, just hit that subscribe button. Don't forget on iTunes for the rating and review. We've got a free koozie when you do that. And then send me a screenshot to Pete Mundo, Mundo, at heartlandcollegesports.com. Have a great day. We'll talk to you guys soon. Go Big 12, baby. Go Big 12. Oh, and can I leave you with this? Let me leave you with this. It's a tweet of ours that went viral. Tweet of ours that went viral from... guess this would have been Sunday night. I'm just going to let it sit there and you do with it what you want. All right? Here we go. The teams that are ranked right now. Oklahoma State, BYU, TCU, Kansas, Kansas State, Cincinnati. All ranked. The teams who are unranked. Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Texas A&M, Nebraska, and Colorado. Do with that information what you wish. I'm just sharing it with you for whatever it's worth and whatever it means. I'm just going to share that. Going to let it sit there. Karma, you decide. Have a great night. Take care.